Welcome to Lifestyle Solopreneur, the community for entrepreneurs who put lifestyle first. Join your host Flavia Berys as she interviews successful lifestyle solopreneurs and shares ideas to help you find the perfect balance between lifestyle, business, and self. Flavia is an attorney, marketing expert, and founder of several online academies. She's been featured in major media including BBC World News, The Wall Street Journal, The New York Post, ESPN Television, and more. Join us for this episode of Lifestyle Solopreneur.
Hey, Lifestyle Solopreneurs. Thanks for joining us today. Today, I have the privilege and pleasure of interviewing Christopher Cumby. He is the author of The Success Playbook and also the founder of Integrity Marketing, Inc. He has been coaching and advising clients on both business strategies and also personal development for more than 14 years. What began for him as a sales and marketing consulting practice took on a broader scope of business advisement when he identified a disconnect with his clients. Seeing business growth as an extension of personal growth, Chris saw that his clients achieved greater success in their professional lives when they also focused on positive personal development. With this realization, Chris saw the opportunity to branch out and offer consultancy services that benefit the person, not just the organization. In 2003, Chris founded Integrity Marketing, Inc. It's a direct sales consulting platform, and it's focused on creating new opportunities and new revenue streams for both his American as well as Canadian clients. We've got a Canadian in the house today. Integrity Marketing has consistently helped its clients achieve broader market shares, increased revenues, and greater profits. His expertise lies in working closely with people to help design, implement, and execute their personal development and sales strategies. He's been instrumental in the positive growth of each client he has worked with, contributing to their overall success. And Chris, we are so happy to have you here today.
It's my pleasure, Flavia, and thank you to your audience for tuning in.
Yeah, I mean, we just love, all of us as community, just chatting about different ways that we can find balance in what we do and grow our personal businesses while at the same time maintaining just a truly fantastic lifestyle that's just focused on the things that, soul-wise help us grow. And I know you're a dad, I'm a mom. I think we were chatting a little bit ago about having the kiddos in the household and just being able to spend as much time as we really want to connecting with our kids. And that's something that I do want to chat with you a little bit about today.
Absolutely. And yes, I am a dad. I have been for a long time. I mean, I'm quite young in comparison to what I believe I'm going to live. But, I had a child when, I found out I was going to have a boy when I was 22 years old. So I've been a dad for 20, he's going to be 23 this year. So
wow,
pretty exciting.
And that is super. Congratulations on.
Thank you.
Are you an empty nester now?
No, I wish. I have, I don't wish. I take that back. I have 4 children. I had them, quite spread out. I have, like I just mentioned, a 23-year-old this year, a 9-year-old this year. She's going to be 9. I have a 2.5-year-old, a 3-year-old this year. And then I just had my baby boy, Bennett, just turned 1. So I've got them all over the place, Flavia.
Oh, you do? I mean, recently I had a guest on, Snow Saxman, and she actually has 7 kids. I think she might have beat you with 1 or 2 extra, but...
Right.
So I've heard your podcast. You're a podcaster yourself, right?
I am. And, what a great medium to, really connect like you. We interview me and my co-host. So slightly different setup, but certainly interviewing, extraordinary people doing extraordinary things out there and how they're helping others improve their lives is where we focus. And it's called Think Bold, Be Bold.
Think Bold, Be Bold. I have heard it. I love it. It's a great show. I encourage others to tune in because it's in a way similar. I mean, we all have a very similar message, right? And that's live your best life. Find a way to be fulfilled in what you do rather than sort of the daily grind that a lot of people get stuck in by default, which is so true. So you personally, this show is Lifestyle Solopreneurs. Do you consider yourself an entrepreneur?
Yes, I would, but I'm also, solo in that sense that, I I don't have a staff. So, it keeps me working on everything. And I did that purposely. I connected with others to build a company that we can all own, but have our individualism, I guess, throughout the company. So I would say I'm a bit of both. I sold two companies just in my previous last few years, but right now I'm flying it solo.
Flying it solo, but you did make a decision for at least your podcast to partner with someone else. Was there sort of a strategy behind that drove that and had you find Alan, who is a great by the way, the two of you together just chatting, it's a great dynamic.
Thank you. And and that's a great point. Alan and I do have a dynamic relationship, and we just, in fact, met at an event, and I was working on, launching my podcast, and I had actually asked him, hey, do you have any interest in maybe jumping on a show with me, and we'll interview some people and we'll check this thing out? And he said yes. So I was really excited, and things kicked off, and we're really happy with the results, and the production right now is, and the value of the show has been going up ever since then. But, great point. Alan is, very much a partner on the Think Bold, Be Bold side. And we're having a lot of fun doing it. That's for sure.
Yeah, it definitely sounds. I've heard recently a few of your episodes, one on productivity, another on parenting. It's just a lot of fun to listen in. So thank you both for putting that show together and sharing your message with the world. I've enjoyed it quite a bit. So what do you do now, to earn income? What would you consider your main source of revenue and your main business that you're in?
Sure. And thanks for asking. In fact, I came up with something just a little bit more creative than just telling people, I'm an accountant or, I'm a sales guy. I help people change their light bulb, and that,
That's great.
And quite frankly, that gets, obviously a question behind that. And that's what I like to do with people is, provoke questions, provoke them to ask questions. And really what that means is, I've been a coach and a mentor and transferred, most of my business knowledge and my sales knowledge and all my, corporate knowledge into helping others change that light bulb inside and, figuring out what they really, really want. It's funny. You said something in my bio, and thank to my wife, she actually wrote that. So mine would have been pretty much all over the place, but she's very good at writing. So I thank her for that. But you mentioned something in my bio that I saw a disconnect between, or a correlation between, personal development and business development, and that's where the light bulb went off in my head, and I figured out a way to personally mentor and coach people that are entrepreneurs and they're building their business. And, I saw the ability for them to increase their own self-worth and, look inside. They were able to really expand their business. And that light bulb went off, and that's where I came up with the concept. I help people change light bulbs because when I help them do that, they see tremendous growth, both personally and in their businesses.
Oh, that's fantastic. Do you ever run into any dim bulbs you've got to brighten up?
For sure. I mean, we all go through a dim period in life. No one goes unscathed, as you know, Flavia, that, we bump into things, whether it's financial, health, relationships. We're human, we're emotional, we have things that happen. And quite frankly, there's a lot of dim moments. Sometimes the light bulb, is pretty dark. So we need to always pivot. I like to call it pivoting and, more or less change through life. You can't sit still, as the opposite of, growing is dying. And, I don't mean from a sense of, people falling, down and dying. I mean, a lot of people's dreams have died. Mm-hmm. And I think that, continuing to grow helps your dream grow. And, the dim light is going to happen, but you can find out ways, you can, listen to strategies and different principles, read good books, go to seminars, connect with people like you, go on your podcast, listen. And Wow, I teach journaling, so I make sure that everybody carries their journal with them because that's primarily what I do is teach them how to turn that into success.
That's fantastic. What's your, top journaling tip? Because I think a lot of people struggle with starting up any new practice, whether it's meditation, yoga, journaling, eating better, green smoothies, whatever it might be. But when you help people develop a journaling practice, what do you tell them?
Great question. In fact, getting started is the number one way to really start journaling effectively because you can journal and, really you might call it a diary and talk about things that are going on in your life. But, if you want effective journaling, something that can actually, move the needle in your life, I always say ask good questions. Ask yourself a good question. Ask a question on top of a question. Make sure the question is leading to another question. So that's where I start with people. Teaching them to journal is to simply start with a really great question, and one that I always like to, put out there are a couple, if I may. What do you
Please.
want? What do you want? Why do you want it? What feeling is it you want when you get it? Why do you want that feeling? And why is that feeling missing in your life now? These are very powerful questions, and I probably coach 95% of the people that I coach, I should say, have never asked these questions.
Mm-hmm.
And that, is something I'm endeavoring on. That's why I wrote the book, The Success Playbook.
That's great. And I'm guessing, based on sort of my own beliefs, that these are not questions that you answer once and move on, but it's a continual,
For sure.
You got to do the Socratic Method, which is sort of that questioning method.
For sure.
To get to the root of everything. But I love that. I think that is such good advice. If someone is listening to this and they're working out or in their car and they don't have time to write down a to-do item in their agenda or make a note of it, I just hope this really sticks and that some point later in the day, you just ask yourself, all these questions, replay this, rewind it if you want, but what do you want? What feeling do you want when you achieve those things? I think those are great questions. Thanks, Chris. And then, this is a lifestyle show as well. We are solopreneurs, so we have businesses, we are entrepreneurial at heart, but we also put lifestyle first. And I do believe from what I know of you that you do put lifestyle first. How has your business, been created in a way that will support your lifestyle choices?
That's another great question, and one that I had to ponder for a while. Having 4 children, a wife, and businesses that are going, obviously creates something we all have to face with, and that's that time. How do we fit it all in? How do we do that? We're all given the same amount of time. So what I decided is that I was going to create, and this is probably an efficiency process, is that I crush everything in 4 hours. So then I get lots of time throughout the day to, focus on the other things in my life, my hobbies, my family, the things I, like to do and spend time. I do spend time with, just myself. I reflect, I do meditation, I go for walks, I exercise, I do all of those things. And, quite frankly, as busy people out there, and I see it all the time, driving a couple hours every day to work and back, it's tough. And because we all have the same amount of time, I, came up with a way that I can really, really be efficient. And I call it not a time management, because I think that, time is not a thing you should manage. I think you should manage your priorities. And that's really what I started looking at what are my priorities for today? And I usually look at the priorities the night before so that I get up and I know exactly what I need to do. I have 6 priorities a day that I handle. That is it. When I'm done those 6 priorities, I move on to the things that I really love to do. And that's all the things we just talked about or I mentioned. And really the priorities that I, set up for myself is I always knock off the really hard ones in the morning. And I'm not saying that priorities are always going to get knocked off that day, but the big ones I always spend more time on first thing in the morning, because then I can just park it, work on it again if I have to, or I can finish it up. Then I leave the real small ones, let's say, for later on, that morning or just before I'm wrapping up so I can just bang them off. See, what I learned from, listening and observing and being mentored and coached and reading a lot of books and paying attention to very successful people is that they touch things once and they get it off their plate. And, the little things, that is obviously, when you have a larger project that, it's not it's not possible to, just touch it once. But it's the little things that really add up. And I think that that's where people get caught up in their, day, is that they touch too many things too many times. And I always, again, set myself up for, success. And I know exactly what I'm going to get taken care of. And I know that once it's taken care of, I don't have to touch it again. And being efficient with that is an important way to make sure that you have the time to be able to go and do all the other things we really, really, are here to do in this lifetime. As far as we know, we only live once, right? So I always say live, the best you can every day. And listen, we're going to all have things that pop up that are stressful, but that's a choice, that's a choice. And what you focus on persists. I actually, it's funny, the other day I posted something that was, a little bit profound even to myself when I, look back at it and I, so I just have these sort of inspirations that happen to me. So I just jot them down and then I post a little note, but everything you experience is because you're observing it. And it's something I just was sitting on the beach and it just hit me and I'm like, wow, you're right. And I was talking to myself, or maybe my other self at that point, but I think that makes a lot of sense. So, everything you experience is because you're observing it. And quite frankly, if your life is, in turmoil, it's because that's the way you see it. And I think, ways that you can become efficient is really prioritize your day and make sure that you're paying attention. And this is a really critical point or points. Make sure you're paying attention to relevant and important items because there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of noise out there today with all the different things that we can pay attention to. And during your time of work, to really crush things in a few hours a day and be, very successful doing that, you need to remove all the other things that don't fit those two buckets, relevant and important. And those two things, especially in business, should always point to revenue. So once you do that, you'll become very, very good at being efficient.
That's fantastic. What do you find are some of the time wasters that people really just, especially your clients, you've seen this, they spin their wheels, but it's not getting them to revenue. It's not getting them to productivity. Are there any time wasters we should all avoid?
Maybe the phone and the email. You can get back to people. That's why we have voicemail. You can get back to email and I spend some of the time after I get all my priorities done to just bang off the things that, came in through email. So I pay attention to that. And I think those two things just, in themselves are very important. But, I calendar everything. One of the things I found very, very useful when, building a business and several businesses at one time, at one point in my life was that I didn't book hours or half hours. I booked minutes.
Elaborate on that. So you mean something starts at 3:04?
Yeah, I mean, if it had to, I book minutes in terms of maybe breaking it down to 5-minute increments or increments or 10 minutes per se, and spending 10 minutes. And, there was a point when I was running a company where I'd have people and, again, this could be related to outside people that maybe don't have employees, but you have people that are doing things for you. Maybe you offset a lot of your clerical or things like that to others, and they're always calling you, or what I call the got-a-minute meetings. The got-a-minute meetings will destroy you. Right. So when I was actually handling a sales staff, I actually posted between the hour of such and such, this is your got a minute, time frame. And I leverage that because, I would set 1 hour a day or a week or whatever it was at the time. And I would say, you got a minute, you can come in and talk to me at that point.
Right.
Not throughout the day, because that'll completely destroy your efficiency and your productivity.
So you almost like set up office hours like professors do.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's great advice. All of this has been just amazing advice about how to prioritize and how to increase productivity. And I love your mindset advice. I think that is just really useful for a lot of people, especially if they struggle with spinning their wheels during the day. And then at the end of the day, maybe they have a journaling practice. They open their journal and they're thinking, what have I accomplished today to move me forward? And if the page is kind of blank, implementing a lot of what you just talked about, I think will help with that, which is great.
Sure.
So I happen to know that you are launching a book that you have been writing. I am guessing, and correct me if I'm wrong, that your book is going to contain a lot of this great advice.
Yeah, I hope so. It's funny when you write, and I wrote about 57,000 words. And,
Oh, wow.
After I got it edited, it went down to about 40,000 words. Thank you to my beautiful wife, who was my final editor, and she's very good at it. That's her, what you would call bailiwick, or something she's very much a genius at. So she actually made the book even better than what I thought it was going to be, and very excited about it. Yes, there's lots of great information in there, but I called it the Success Playbook because it's essentially taking a journal and turning it into success. So hence the Success Playbook. And I really teach people throughout the book, 13 chapters, exercises after each chapter. I threw in some really cool stuff that helped me along the way using hypnosis and neuro-linguistic program, or NLP for short. And I give that program completely, away for free on my website right now without buying the book. But, it does go hand in hand with the book. But you'll get benefits if you just buy the book and you don't do the, let's say meditation system that I put together. Or together, I know it's really going to move the needle in people's lives.
Personally, I think books are the absolute most underrated and best value that anybody can do for learning. To buy a book, to read the book, to absorb the book, it is such an amazing way to repurpose that time that you ordinarily maybe cruise Facebook or watch Game of Thrones. I mean, I watch Game of Thrones, so
I do too.
I think I'll still keep doing that. I'm not going to read.
I love that show.
Me too. But
I'm hooked.
me too. And I've read all the books, and now I feel like we're marching blind because the show has gone past the books.
I know.
But I'm used to it now, and I'm actually starting to kind of dig it. So
yeah, for sure.
But truly, books are amazing. So how many words is it now? 40,000 some?
It's around 40,000.
Okay,
yeah.
so 40,000 words of what you have learned working with clients. You have put it in a book, in a medium where somebody can either read it on an ebook format, Kindle. They can read it in physical format. And I just think people need to take more advantage of this old art of reading. I'm worried for our next generation because I think reading is sort of going away in some ways. The short attention spans, you just kind of want the snippets of information instead of diving in.
Sure.
But diving into these topics, that's the way to really learn. I plan to read your book. I hope lots of listeners today read your book. How can they obtain the book or learn more about it? Is there a web domain that they should go to?
Well, I definitely have it through my personal site, christophercumby.com. I have the official successplaybook.com that's just getting tweaked right now. So it'll be available, but again, it'll be through all my social media. You can find me anywhere at Success Playbook, and I'll have it just about available everywhere. So Amazon will probably be the, people will be able to go in there in the next couple of weeks and be able to put in the Success Playbook, and they'll find it in no time. And
what I love about your name is it's actually pretty easy to remember and to spell out. You don't have any crazy spellings. So Christopher, Christopher, Cumby, CUMBY.com, ChristopherCumby.com. And I think that's a great way for everyone to connect with you. I've connected with you originally, I believe, through Facebook. And I got to say this little story because when I first saw, you don't have it anymore. So people don't rush off and go to Facebook to try to find this photo I'm talking about. It's not there. But when I first saw your profile pic, I think it was sunny. You're on maybe a beach. You might be wearing a hat. I'm not sure about the hat. But you are okay. But your hand is kind of like almost to the camera, so your hands about as big as your head, right? Because of the
for sure
the perspective, and you're making a symbol. And when you first glance at it, I was like, oh, like is like a rock concert, or maybe you were flipping me off, or so it made me stop. I did a triple look, and I saw no, that's the symbol in American Sign Language for love, and I dug that. I think that was pretty cool photo. And did you ever, with any of your kids, go to sign language classes for them before they could speak, when they were very, very little?
No, but it's funny. I had a friend who actually was hearing impaired, and I learned that way back. And I just did it all the time to everybody. And I was at the beach. I had my cowboy, kind of beach cowboy hat on at the beach. And I just someone took a quick pic of me, and I've had that up there for the longest time. And I love that pic still. So what I'll do for everyone is I'll post it inside of Facebook so you can find it when you come in, and you'll know exactly what Flavia is talking about. And I'll put it on a couple of other mediums like my Twitter as well, and you can find me at Success Playbook. So if anybody wants to connect there,
fantastic.
I'm always on Twitter. So
definitely they should connect with you. I absolutely advise that. I think you're just a great guy to know. You give great advice. I can't wait to read your book. I know you're going to travel to your hometown in Toronto to do your book launch. Your, I guess, what do they call it? Your book signing party, the
book launch party.
Party. And
you got it.
Home is Florida, correct?
Home is Florida right now. That is correct.
Well, thanks again for being on. And just like in that profile pic, it really is about love, right? It's about spending time with people we love, doing the things we love, and just living with intention. And you are definitely someone that inspires, someone to follow. And I am so grateful to you for being on the show today.
My pleasure, and thank you. You're doing an awesome job. And I have to, throw it out there to your audience to keep following and listening. I think this show is awesome. You're awesome. And for everybody that is listening in, why don't we do something really cool? Why don't we have them go and pick up this free program? It's worth $500. I was selling it for quite a while, and then I just decided that I'm going to give it all away. And it's an amazing program without buying anything at all. Just go to my website. You can click on the Success Playbook meditation system. It'll bring you right there. You can put your name and number or name and email in, and you'll have complete access to downloadable stuff that will absolutely move the needle in your life. So thank you again, Flavia, for having me on.
Thank you so much for your generosity and your time today. Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast, and if you leave a review on iTunes, I promise I will read every single review. If you know someone who makes a full-time living from part-time work, and maybe this is you, please visit LIFESTYLESolopreneur.com to nominate a guest or to nominate yourself. Because remember this, money doesn't buy happiness. But money in the hands of a happy person, there is no greater tool.
Today's episode was brought to you by the Get Shift Done program. It's a lifestyle-changing online class to help you define your business and lifestyle ambitions, and to set goals in a way you've never experienced before. This class will 10x your daily productivity with methods that will blow your mind. And if you use the coupon code podcast, the class tuition is 99% off. Visit GetShiftDone.com to enroll today.